All right, so Brian, tell me about the Secure Act 2.0 and as it relates to the student loan provisions. What's going on
Yeah,
with that?
great question. Funny you should bring that up. But yeah, so that passed at the end of December of 2022. So it's still fairly new, and we're all digesting it. And what a lot of the pieces sort of roll out over time. So there's a lot of things that were immediate, and then things going out all the way to 2028. So one of the provisions in there is to allow for people who are making student loan payments to make that look like a 401k contribution, so they're eligible for the match. So to put it simply, if people are putting away 3% in their 401k in the investment accounts there, and then also getting a 3% match from the company, people are like, well, I don't want to contribute to my 401k because I want to pay down my student loans. So now what they're saying is, all right, if you're putting 3% of your paycheck to paying down your student loans, the company can view that as a match and match that contribution. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty neat. So you make $100 in a week, you pay $3 on your student loan. The company will again turn the $3 match into a match into your 401k. So you're paying down your student loan and also getting a company match, which is pretty nice. And that also piggybacks another provision which allows company matches to go into the Roth bucket, which they've never been allowed to do, but now they can. So this piggybacks that. So somebody fresh out of school can pay down their student loans and get a company contribution in form of the Roth. So that's one of those provisions that will start for calendar year 2024, because there's a little bit of obviously database and technology skills that have to go behind the scenes to get that built up into the system to allow that, and some plan documents that need to be revised and all that sort of stuff. So expect that 2024. Now, it's not a requirement. Businesses don't have to do that. It's not a mandate or anything like that, but it does allow those businesses, especially those who maybe hire people right out of school or have some advanced degrees, to do that.
But
So
it's
that's pretty exciting.
inconsequential to the business whether their contribution is because you're paying your student loan or because you're contributing to the 401k
Right.
or
Yep.
the investment vehicle. Now, because I'm a nuts and bolts guy, this sounds
Yeah.
like an administrative nightmare.
Yeah,
What
and that's
what
why they're get so again, it's not something that's required. So you may have, I don't necessarily want to use any names, but let's say you have ABC Record Keeper and they come up with the technology and they offer it day one. You may have other record keepers who are like, you know what, this isn't a priority for us. We're doing some other things. So it might be a competitive feature as well. So you may find that some providers won't give you that
like
option right away.
how would
So
you literally administer that? Like you're an employee, and how do you declare to your employer every week that you would the employer, I guess, remit on your student loan? Would you somehow set up in your payroll portal with your employer that the payroll would remit to the student loan?
yeah, so that's what I'm guessing is going to happen. You're going to have some payroll integration there, so it'll be another line item on your pay stub, which more people are doing that. I know. So let's say, for example, a 529 plan or saving for college, you could have that withdrawn from your checking account, but you could also get a bank account and a routing number and have that withdrawn from your paycheck, which some people prefer to do more, kind of do that through the workplace. Some people are even doing some extra savings or to a different bank account or whatever. So the payroll systems now will allow for, a bunch of different slots. So they can send money anywhere you want as long as you have a bank account and a routing number. So I'm guessing it'll have to be through a payroll system. I guess there's a situation where it could be done through some sort of API, where it might be the 401k company actually collecting that contribution and then sending it to the student loan provider. But
Does a student loan provider, it's been years, thankfully, that I've actually paid off my last student loan, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. But was that a bank account that I was paying to? I mean, I was using their portal. So like,
yeah,
but technically was there a checking account number and a routing number behind that I could have
I
just
think they
dumped
were
money?
probably pulling it rather than you pushing it. So you probably gave them your bank account routing number, and then they were pulling it. So I think this might have to be kind of the other way around if you're doing it through your paycheck. But
So I renew my original comment. It sounds like, to me, it sounds like a nuts and bolts nightmare. Like, how do they administer that? So it's obviously the parties reading that, and then it's interesting. The government says, "Hey, you could do this," and then like the various stakeholders, payroll companies, they then have to be like, "Oh, good, let's spend our time and resources extending our systems and products and services to accommodate for this mechanism." But like you pointed out, like a smaller payroll company would be like, here's, I don't know, like, what do they do? It just sounds like a nightmare.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. People from a technology standpoint, I'm sure can figure it out. I mean, one of the things with the 401k industry is it's a lot of older insurance companies, sort of legacy providers, and they can be typically slow to move and slow to integrate. So this stuff moves pretty slow, but we'll see. If they see it as a competitive advantage for them and they want to add it
Right.
right away, then um, I'm sure they'll figure it out. There's certain things they have to update every year and different plan provisions and plan documents. So that's the business they're in, I guess you could say,
Right.
right?
That's true. That's
So
true.
if it were easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? So I mean, they hire their tech people, and if there's extra costs and they need to pass it along, they'll pass it along. That's just kind of the way it works. So
It's true.
um,
True.